Most of the cost of the beef you eat is added after the animal leaves the farm gate. So beef farmers don't actually make that much money from their cattle. But what if the farmer was also the factory owner and the retailer? Well, here in Limerick, there's one man who's doing all three jobs, and he's convinced there's a killing to be made in beef.
I'm taking care of business.
Jim Flavin was an apprentice butcher when the BSE crisis struck and landed the industry on its knees. Not to be deterred, Jim took the setback as a sign that he should set out on his own path.
I was on 3 days a week at the time, and that wasn't going to pay many bills for me. Like, I was just only after getting married as well, so I had much of a choice. That's the trade I knew, and I thought I had good ideas, and I said I'd take a chance.
Jim the butcher quickly became Jim the beef farmer. He had always intended supplying his own shop with his own animals, but the farming proved as exacting as the retail end of the business.
In my day off would be Sunday, like I'd go to different farms and I'd pick out the best cattle I could see for my shop, and I'd purchase them, buy them off of farmers that way, mostly, yeah.
But you weren't happy with that, really, were you?
No, I wasn't happy with that, because some days either the animal wouldn't be finished enough, to be too small, or to be too big, or it wouldn't be the right quality. Like you know by looking at it straight away, like, or the animal will suit you or not, like, you know.
So you decided then to get your own cattle, but how many do you need to keep the butcher shop ticking over all year round?
Oh, yeah. Well, we do from about 10 to 15 a week.
And what are they eating?
They eat maize, they eat barley, rolled barley, we have sugar beet, we give them some straw and some silage. I'm happy to know what the animal is eating, number one, and it's a much better product. I see it myself when I'm cutting the meat myself. I see exactly what I'm getting back.
Beef farming is a tough business. A recent survey showed that of the 60,000 cattle farms in the country, only 20% could be considered commercial. In fact, if he wasn't getting subsidies, the average beef farmer would be losing €5,000 a year.
Obviously, the longer the animals are on a farm, the more costly it's going to be. They have to be fed every day. Farmers need to have targets and, I suppose, wait for age, that their animals meet a specific weight at a given age. And Jim would be doing things quite well here. A lot of the animals would be slaughtered 14, 15 months of age, whereas typically on most commercial farms, heifers maybe 20 to 24 months being slaughtered. Just have a look at the maize here, Jim. I've measured the second pit, and there should be enough there for you through until July.
At current beef prices, the best cattlemen in the country could make a profit of 25 cents a kilo. But the bottom third of beef producers could easily lose €1 per kilo, because their costs of keeping their animals are higher.
There are very many beef farmers in Ireland. First of all, there's, I suppose, over 60,000 specialist beef farms. Average incomes on those farms are quite low, and they were quite low in 2007. But the vast majority of farms are run on a part-time basis. When you look at the kind of large commercial beef farming sector, you're talking about 6,000 or 7,000 full-time commercial beef farms. And in 2007, they had incomes between kind of 45,000, 55,000 on average. All of the beef sector tends to be very reliant on subsidies. Large-scale commercial farmers, less so in that they are making some market-based profit, but they are still very reliant on the single farm payment and on reps. So, you know, up to 40,000 of that 45 or 50,000 would come in the form of a cheque in the post.
The top beef farmers make on average about €15,000 profit from the market. In purely business terms, the return on the significant investments they have in land, machineries and buildings wouldn't be justified were it not for the subsidies. Is the answer then to seek a better price at the factory?
The current situation, it's quite tough at the moment for beef farmers, because they're not guaranteed a price at the end of the year. Like, there should be some way of guaranteeing a price. Then you'd know where you stand.
Very few businesses are guaranteed a definitive price for their end product, but even if beef farmers were guaranteed a price, ultimately that probably just makes cattle that are going out to buy dearer. Their margin may not be any greater because of that, but the most important thing is that to know their cost structure, with or without a guaranteed price, and that's where most beef farmers tend to fall down.
The lowest production cost in the country is about €1.40 a kilo this year. It costs producers in the bottom third another €1 or €2.40 a kilo to produce their animals. However, the stark figures present an opportunity for less profitable farmers to up their game.
First of all, they need to become technically efficient, and by that we mean that they achieve their desired weights at the desired age, and we need to have target weights for age, and typically 300 kilos at 300 days is something most farmers can remember in terms of live weight. Once you're technically efficient, the next step is to make sure that's taking place and is being done efficiently and economically. That's leaving money. Then once you have that done, the next big thing is output, that you have enough of those animals to sell, that you are sufficiently stocked, that you have sufficient output to generate incomes. Most importantly, you need to know the cost of what you're producing. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
In the factory, the average price last week was hovering between $1.55 and $1.65 a kilo. However, Jim is luckier than most since he's not a price taker. Without the retail end of the business, though, would he be quite so happy?
For the work I put into it and the quality that I have, I don't think I wouldn't get the same profit. Why I'm profitable would be because I'd grow my own maize, I grow my own barley. I'd finish all my cattle inside as well, which is they'd finish quicker inside more than outside. So, and I have tighter control over the cattle as well. Like each animal, if they're sick or anything, like you spot them straight away inside. Like nowadays, you have to have things as tight as possible to run any business.
Intensive production has added costs like additional labour. But the less intensive farmers have traditionally had to supplement their own income with off-farm jobs. With the downturn in the construction sector, the return from the farm will come under scrutiny. Not for the first time, the future holds many uncertainties for the beef sector.
Over the next 12 to 18 months, the prospects seem to be good in terms of beef prices. The Brazilian beef ban that was in place over the last 12 months is likely to continue into the future, and that will have a positive impact for beef prices in Ireland. Looking beyond 12 to 18 months, it's very difficult to say. It'll depend on policy developments like World Trade Organization talks and reforms of the CAP and so forth. So it's difficult to say beyond the next 12 to 18 months.
Well, that's all for this week. Next week, staying safe on the farm.
Bringing the countryside into the classroom.
Have you eaten the rhubarb yet?
No, I don't like rhubarb.
And divided opinions on the future of dairy farming.
There's one thing certain about dairy farmers at the moment. No matter what is coming to us all, we're all worried about the future.
So don't forget to join us again next Thursday night at 7 o'clock.